grocery store orchids that look like $1,000,000. Hi, my name is Katherine Bergman. I'm a floral designer and avid gardener with over 30 years experience designing weddings and events. Welcome to my channel, where I share professional tips and techniques on creating fabulous floral displays with you each week. Today, we're going to make these two beautiful orchid displays from grocery store orchids. Are you ready to make something gorgeous together? Let's get started. So the first way we're going to display orchids is in a terrarium. And look at this fabulous terrarium I purchased from Hobby Lobby of all places. It was a $200 item that was marked down to $100. And I thought, for a spectacular prop like this, $100 is really worth it, right? So I love the look of plants displayed in terrariums, and I thought orchids would be the perfect thing since they last a long time and they give you flowers. Much more interesting than just like ferns or something. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside while I work on the orchids. And it's a super easy display. What I have here is just a little square container that I tested and know it fits perfectly in the bottom of my terrarium. The inspiration for this video really is because of all the beautiful orchids that are available all the time and everywhere around us. Pretty much every grocery store and the Home Depot and of course nurseries carry orchids nowadays, and they're all very inexpensive. And potted orchids like these last something like a month or more. So right here what I have is about $30 worth of orchids. And if you have an incredible prop like the terrarium, then you could do a designer-inspired display for your home that really makes a huge statement. And it's not always about buying cut flowers every week. What I have here are 3 orchid plants, relatively small ones, and they total about $30. The taller ones are $10.99 each, and the little one is $6.99. So I've got my little orchids unpackaged, and they come in these little decorative, containers. Now, most people, not you guys I know, just puts this on their desk. I've even seen this displayed at a lot of places with the tag still on. No, please don't do that. And do something creative with the orchids. It's easy enough, right? Okay, so definitely take the tags off. Number 1, take the tags off, okay? And then think of an interesting vessel to display your orchids. Now, there's nothing wrong with putting this on your desk. It's acceptable, but do something spectacular, right? So I'm going to take them out of these ceramic containers, and you've got just this little plastic pot. Now, before you arrange the orchids, you want to water it well, and you do that once a week. What I do is I take it out of the containers, and I'll just set this in a pot of water or a basin of water and let it soak for a few minutes. And then drain it in the sink and then put it back in your arrangement. A little bit of effort, but you only have to do it once a week. Okay? So actually, I'm going to keep the little one in the little pot since the container is so small. I think it's not going to be very steady in here. And then you just arrange it in here. Not very hard, right? And I think there's inexpensive enough that you can group them, even if you're not doing a fantastic terrarium like this. It's always more effective to group them. So I'm just grouping the orchids in here like this. And terrariums are interesting. I've worked a lot with them, and they are always smaller than you think. What I mean is, this looks gigantic, but you can't get much in there. And you don't want it to be like shoehorned in there and look too tight. Okay, so we got that in here. I think this leaf will touch the side of the terrarium, so I'm going to turn this orchid so that the leaf is this way. It's now in the way of that leaf. So sometimes the leaves are bigger than the orchid itself, right? So you just have a nice cluster of orchids. And I chose 3 different colors. It's up to you. It's always very effective to have all white as well. And then you're going to cover all your transitions and all the, open areas just with some moss. This is preserved moss that's been dyed a nice natural green. There's a version of this that's dyed a horrible emerald green that you never see in nature. So get the one that is this natural green. And this is from super moss, which is what I would recommend if you're going to buy moss. They come in bags. You can buy them on Amazon, of course, as well as craft stores like Hobby Lobby and Michael's. And Super Moss is the brand that we usually buy because they do the preserved moss. This is Spanish moss that's been dyed green. Spanish moss naturally is sort of gray. And it's very versatile. This is nice, and sphagnum is also nice. Okay, so we've covered our container, the plastic parts of it, and the transitions really nicely with some of this moss. Now you could be totally done now, but I thought it would be cute to add some ferns in here, but not real ferns. They do sell the miniature ferns for fairy gardens and such at the flower market, and the pot is like 1.5 inches. But I suspect that that's not going to last very well unless you're misting it like every 5 minutes. So I have some faux little sprigs of mossy looking greenery that I bought from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to stick it in here at the base, at the inside the pot of the orchid. Just so you have a little bit something, you know, at the base, and it looks kind of mossy and fun. Just stick some in here. And it's a mixture of 2 different kinds. One is sort of a frilly fern. The other is a little bit more like a maidenhair fern with the small leaves. Not quite maidenhair, but I don't know. I'm not sure what this would be and if they have this in real life, but it's just so you have something interesting at the base of the orchids. And that's up to you. If you're not a big fan of artificial, then skip this part, or you can use real ferns. But like I said, you don't have much space, right? And then we're going to place it in the terrarium. Oh, before we place it in the terrarium, another fun thing is to add some fairy lights. So I'm going to add some fairy lights in here. And you guys know about this, right? Very inexpensive, $1 or $2 for fairy lights, and they're battery operated. And that's really fun in the terrarium. Just remember where you hid the controller. I think they might have battery operated ones that are now remote controlled, which would be great in a terrarium, so you don't have to stick your hand in and look for it. But I just have the regular kind. And you're not going to have this on all the time, but if you're entertaining or you just want some festive lighting, then you can add this in here. And I would buy the shorter lengths and maybe do 2 of them so it's easier to work with. They come in different lengths, and I think this is like a shorter one, like maybe 6 foot, 3 foot, I don't know, 3 foot. Depending on the project, right? This is for a small space, so the shorter one might be easier to work with. And that's it. Just have our little fairy lights, our little orchids and ferns, and then we're just going to place this in our terrarium. And that's it. Super simple, but really spectacular, right? Orchids in a terrarium lit up. Okay. And this is something you can put in your living room. I actually have this on my kitchen island for, you know, for a drama and height. It's a beautiful, beautiful display of orchids that's really out of the ordinary, super easy to do from orchids that you can buy from grocery store. So this next orchid display is just utilizing an interior designer trick or technique where we group disparate things on a unifying item, like a large silver tray. I have this beautiful large silver tray from my husband's family, and it's great for displaying lots of little things. And sometimes you want to have a variety of things displayed, but not have it look ununified or hodgepodgey. So I'm going to do an all-white orchid display on here. I have 3 orchid plants, one sort of large one that's been trained in a crescent, a little tiny mini one, and a medium-sized one. And I chose all white orchids because white orchids on silver, what could be more elegant, right? And timeless. And so I'm going to put the little tiny orchid in this little tiny mint julep cup that I have, which is silver. I have a medium-sized one that I put in the medium-sized mint julep cup. And for this tall one, the bigger one, I thought it'd be fun to mix it up and use this really beautiful crystal vase. And this will set in here. And I don't mind that it's set in a little bit because I want it to just kind of curve over the vase and be within the glass. And so I'm just going to have this here and this one here. And just group it kind of artfully. Nothing very fancy, but an artful grouping of these orchids like this. And I thought just to add some more bling. So the theme is, you know, metals and glass. We would use some of these beautiful candle holders. And I'm just using LED tapers because you don't want heat around your living orchids. And this is a fun thing I bought on Amazon, so I'll put this in the description below if any of you are interested in this. This is a set of 3 candle holders like this in 3 different heights. You definitely could use real tapers when in this, but I'm just using the LED tapers. Now they don't fit perfectly, so I should just put some clay on the bottom, but it's enough to show you the idea, right? So I think I'll put this one here, a short one in front here. Okay. Usually LED tapers are great because there's a battery on the bottom, so it's heavy on the bottom, so it's kind of weighted. But this one seems to want to go on one side. Okay. I'll put this one over here. See why we were doing LEDs? You couldn't have a real candle this close to an orchid, right? And this one over here. So in terms of technique, there's not much technique to this. Super easy, but you see how effective it is when you group things with a theme on a tray. You've got the shiny metals, and we have mixed metals here with the silver and the gold, and then the glass and all white orchids. Isn't this a fabulous display? This is something that would be really, really elegant in your entrance hall or on a buffet or somewhere where you just want a big show. Even great on a coffee table if you've got a large enough coffee table. And then you've got candlelight, you've got glass, you've got metals, very sparkly, sophisticated display of orchids. And what we have here is about $40 worth of orchids. And these orchids will last you about a month. And what a nice display, right? Doesn't have to be cut flowers all the time. So we created 2 very elegant and very sophisticated and unusual designs using inexpensive grocery store orchids. Well, thank you for joining me here today. I hope my designs inspired you to go out and buy some orchids and do a beautiful display yourself. If you enjoyed this video today, please join me here again. New designs and floral creations are always on the way, so please click the little bell to be notified when I put out a new video. I love hearing from my loyal viewers and my new viewers, so send me a comment to let me know what you're doing this week. And please share your beautiful creations with your fellow flower lovers in the community section of my channel. Flowers are nature's little luxury, so go out and treat yourself to something special this week, and I will see you in my next video.